What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman here for Stokastic.com, back again with the NFL DFS contenders on FanDuel for week 3. Now, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Head into the comment section of this video. I want to know who you guys like this week. Who are your favorite quarterbacks, running backs, wideouts, tight ends, defenses, even. And then finally, I'd like you guys to go check out Prize Picks. There's a link in the description of the video. Click that link, head on over to Prize Picks, make a deposit. Any deposit, whatever that deposit is, they'll match it up to $100. So you put in 25 bucks, if that's what you've got right now, they're gonna give you another 25. But if you can put in 100, they'll give you 100. And you don't need an optimizer here. We're picking player props, over-unders. If you can pick 5, you can net up to 10x your entry fee. We have tools at Stokastic that can help you out as well. So please, go check out the presenting sponsor. Helps me out a ton. We got defenses on the screen. There's nothing separating these guys. Saints in at number 1, 7% optimal. Chargers, and maybe more below this. Chargers in at number 10, 5% optimal. Flip a coin, throw a dart, whatever you want to do. That's how I feel about defenses for this week. Now let's get on to my top 5 quarterbacks, running backs, wideouts, and tight ends for this week. We round out the bottom of the top 10 with Everett, Hurst, Waller, Ertz, and Pitts. TJ Hawkinson in at number 5. We get a little bit more separation at the top, but for now we'll talk Hawk. 5,500. That was really good alliteration. 5,500 for Hawkinson. 9.2 fantasy point projection. Lions are 6-point dogs against Minnesota. 52.5 point total. Very appealing here. You're not expecting Hawk to go for a monstrous day, but he is in the optimal lineup 8% of the time. With a 52.5 point total, you assume that Detroit is going to have to throw the ball pretty regularly. That, to me, giant benefit for Hawkinson. The salary works. Everything here looks pretty good. I like the fact that Detroit's going to probably have to throw the ball in the second half. I think Hawkinson's in for a big day. Tied with Hawkinson and Pitts and Ertz, we've got Dallas Goedert. 5,500, projected for 9.2 fantasy points. Eagles are 6-point favorites against the Commanders. 47.5 point total. This one just feels pretty similar to Hawkinson, just sort of a different game script. 8% chance, though, to be in the optimal. You don't need too much out of Goddard at this price tag, but he just looks so similar. So just pay attention to what you're doing here. If this is part of a primary stack with Jalen Hurts or a secondary stack completely independent of it where you're grabbing somebody from the command, I could see it all here. I don't have a ton to say because 8% likelihood is just not that interesting. Now we're stepping into a different range, up to 11% here for number 3, Tyler HIGBEE. 5,700, projected for 10 fantasy points. Rams, 3.5 point favorites against the Cardinals. 48.5 point total. You're not expecting 30 out of HIGBEE, but you certainly don't need it. 10.5% likelihood to be in the optimal. We're rounding that bad boy up to 11. First guy into the double digits here. You know what the Rams can do on offense, and you expect to see a lot of plays, to see a lot of offense. If I'm being honest, I thought we would have seen a slightly bigger line or a slightly bigger total here. We don't, but that's okay. 48.5 is still more than okay here for HIGBEE. I like the target opportunity. Touchdown equity looks like it's here. 5,700 just works. Then we could pay up at number 2 for Travis KELCE, 7,800, projected for just shy of 14 fantasy points. Chiefs are 5.5 point favorites against the Colts with a 50.5 point total. 2% chance for KELCE to go for more than 30, which is a monster day on FanDuel. 11% likelihood he is in the optimal. This one probably takes the least amount of explanation. Travis KELCE is an exceptional tight end, arguably the best in the league. There's a 50-point total on this game, and Pat Mahomes is still under center for Kansas City. Anytime that's the case, the upside of Travis KELCE cannot be ignored. But the best tight end option this week is in the same price tier. He's 7,700. That's Mark Andrews, projected for 13.8. Very little difference here, but we know what we're trying to get. Baltimore, 2.5 point favorites, 44 point total against the Pats, 2% chance to go for 30, 12% likelihood to be the optimal. If you really want to have the best optimal odds, you're paying up for either Andrews or KELCE. I could see you going either direction. I like the spot a little bit more for KELCE, but savings is savings, and you can get Mark Andrews at $100 cheaper, and that is just going to be helpful here. But I see both guys as relative equals. That's why you see it in the optimal odds. If you need to save the money, go to HIGBEE, but at the top of the heap at tight end, we've got Mark Andrews. Thielen, London, Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks round out the bottom of the top. 10 at wideout. Amon-Ra St. Brown in at number 5. 2 big days so far. 7,800 this week. Just shy of 15 fantasy point projection here for Detroit. They're underdogs with a 50-point total. You know they're going to be throwing it around, and I think that could not be a much bigger benefit for St. Brown. And honestly, I'm cheering for them because of my wife. She's got him. I need fantasy points there. Happy wife, happy life. 8% chance that he goes for north of 30. 13% chance he's in the optimal, which means you probably need is strong. You want like 25 fantasy points to just say, man, St. Brown killed it this week. He might be in the optimal lineup. That's really all I need to hear. I think he looks great in this spot. Feel free to pay up for the ceiling of Davante Adams, 8,700, projected for 16 fantasy points. Raiders, 2-point favorites, 45.5 point total against the Titans. This one you kind of need close to 30. 11% chance to go for north of 30. 13% chance he's in the optimal. So like 28, 29, that's going to get you there. It's a big price tag for Davante Adams, but as we know, he's got as big of a ceiling as basically anybody on any NFL slate. The dude can just go, and I'm more than happy to spend 8,700 this week. I just think there might be one other guy, at least one other guy, that you could pay a little bit more for. One of those guys is Justin Jefferson, 9,500, projected for 18.5 on the opposite side of that Lions game. So Minnesota, 6-point favorites, 52.5 point total, 16% chance he goes for more than 30, 14% likelihood that he is in the optimal, which means you probably need 30. And he can give it to you. He's incredible. That is why you see a $9,500 price tag on Justin Jefferson, and it's more than worth it. This dude has monster upside this week in a spot that you could not ask for something better. I will be very happy, even at 9,500, because I think there's enough value out there to make it work. I'll be very happy to get to Justin Jefferson. Or you could save a little bit of money and go to someone with a comparable ceiling, and that's going to be Stefon Diggs, 8,300, projected for 17, and Buffalo in a great spot. 5-point favorites, 52.5 point total against the Dolphins. 13% chance to go for more than 30, 16% likelihood to be in the optimal. If Justin Jefferson's price tag is a little bit of a sticker shock for you, drop down to Diggs. You get Josh Allen on the opposite side for the stack. That is obviously fun to do. Or, you know, if you need him to be the bring back on a Dolphin stack, I guess go for it. 52.5 point total certainly works, but I don't think anybody around here is going to be mad getting to Diggs. Dude's just got a nose for the end zone. Obviously had an incredible week 2. I think he follows it up again in week 3, but he's not my number 1 guy. That number 1 guy is another pay-up option, and it is Cooper Kupp, 9,800, projected for 20.5 here for the Rams against the Cardinals. The 48.5 point total, 23% chance to go for more than 30. Dude just puts up fantasy points and has for a while now. 17% chance he is your optimal wide receiver, or one of the optimal wide receivers. Do I have to say anything here? Is this surprising? Are there people out there that are like, can't imagine going to Cooper Kupp this week? I don't think that's there. He's to me, the best wide receiver that you can get to this week, and he's well worth a $9,800 price tag. Bring Stafford along for the ride. Bring some other guys for the Cardinals back on a bring back. It's all right there for you. I love the game. I love the player. I love Cooper Kupp. We got a pretty blurry top 5 at running back, but we've got Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. We've got Dameon Pierce, Alvin Kamara, and Josh Jacobs rounding out the bottom of the top 10. Joe Mixon in at number 5, 8,200, projected for 17 fantasy points. Cincy taking on the Jets. This is a great spot for Mixon, because if this one goes the way that I expect it to, they're up early. Maybe that's because of Mixon, and boy, oh boy, is he going to get the work in the second half. 8% chance to go for more than 30, 13% chance that he is in your optimal lineup, which means you're hoping to get 25 out of Mixon. Put him in for 100 and a score and some catches, and you're feeling pretty darn good. Mix it against the Jets. Sign me up. So man, I feel can't ever get right. Christian McCaffrey in at number 4, 8,500, projected for 17.5. Carolina, 2.5 point dogs against the Saints, 41 point total, 10% chance to go for more than 30, 14% chance to be in the optimal. We know what the actualized ceiling of Christian McCaffrey is. He's involved aggressively in the pass game. He gets enough carries to be lethal, breaks a couple big ones. The dude's great, but we got to see it as well. I don't know what else to say here. I think he's perfectly worth that $8,500 price tag. That's why you see him get to number 4. But I feel like whatever I say about this guy, the opposite happens. If I like him, he's a bust. If I hate him, he goes for 40 fantasy points because he scores 4 touchdowns, catches 15 balls, and runs for 100. Those are the breaks. Sometimes you just have guys you can't get right. For right now, I've got McCaffrey in at number 4. I've got David Montgomery in at number 3, 7,100, just shy of 15 fantasy point projection. Bears are 3-point favorites against Houston, 39.5 point total. Just a 5% chance for Montgomery to go north of 30, but 15% likelihood he is in the optimal lineup. The price works here. You wish that there was an opportunity for a little bit more scoring. The sub 40-point game total is kind of gross, but that also just points you in the direction of heavy workload for David Montgomery. And that works for me. As a cash gameplay, love Montgomery. I think the floor is pretty high here because he's just simply going to get a bunch of work. That works for me. I do think there's a sneaky amount of upside. And like I said, 1 out of 20 chance he goes for 30, which clearly you need. But anything over 20 here, that's exactly what I'm looking for. David Montgomery in at number 3. Injuries and suspensions are making Leonard Fournette look a lot better. In at number 2, 7,200, projected for 16 fantasy points. Bucks taking on the Packers, 1-point favorites, 42-point total, 5% chance to go for more than 30, 16% likelihood to be in the optimal. I expect him to be a little bit more involved in the passing game, and certainly he's been carrying the rock quite a bit over those first 2 games for Tampa. He's just going to have the opportunity to do more and more because these guys are down more and more options. I love Fournette here. Even at 7,200, a price tag that fully warranted, that's for sure. He could be even if Fournette were 7,500, 7,600, he's still in this top 10. You can go a little bit higher than that, and he's still going to be in this top 10. That's why I like Fournette. There's a lot of built-in wiggle room with his price. I think he is legitimately slightly underpriced. That's why we see him at number 2. And then we get to Dalvin Cook, 8,300, projected for 17.5. Great spot. They're favorites by 6 points. It's a 52-point total. He's going for north of 30, 10% of the time. He's in the optimal 16% of the time. If he scores the touchdowns early, you're in for a monster day. If Minnesota is out in front and they're just relying on Dalvin Cook in the second half, he is up for a huge day. And he should be because it's the Lions on the opposite side. We're expecting scoring. If he gets it done early, I think he also gets it done late. Dalvin Cook is the best thing that you can get to on FanDuel this week at running back. Now before we close it out, quarterbacks, one last reminder. I need you to like, subscribe, notification bell. Those are the good things right out of the gate. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. That's where I will post my updates to my sims as we get closer to lock. I want you guys to hop in the comments. Let's have a little bit of back and forth. What do you like? What do you dislike? I need to know it. And then finally, please click the link in the description and go check out Prize Picks. Get up to $100 on your first deposit. There are 2 quarterbacks that are slightly pulling away from the pack. Otherwise, your mileage may vary. Take whoever you want. Just pair them with some good wideouts and tight ends and potentially running backs. Joe Burrow, Mariota, Tua, Kyler, Lamar Jackson. They round out the bottom of the top 10. Pat Mahomes in at number 5. Does this even take any explanation? 8,700, projected for 22 fantasy points. The Chiefs, 5.5-point favorites against Indy, 50-point total. 18% chance that he goes for north of 30 fantasy points and is clearly a fantastic pairing with Travis KELCE. You know what the ceiling is here. You kind of just need to get the other pass catchers correct in order to make the Mahomes stack work. And this dude will throw touchdown passes to anybody. Running backs, wideouts, tight ends, offensive linemen. You never know what's coming here. But the ceiling for Mahomes, massive. He's a little dinged up, but he's got a good spot here against the Jags. That's Justin Herbert, 8,200, projected for 21.5. They're a touchdown favorite with a 47.5-point total. I don't know why I said a half. It's clearly on the screen as just 47, but I don't think that extra hook is why we're rostering Justin Herbert. 18.5% chance of going for north of 30, but just a 6% chance of being optimal. You'd like to see Keenan Allen out there this week. I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not, but feel free to pair up Justin Herbert with Mike Williams. I think you'd be pretty happy with that one. Feels kind of weird to talk about Kirk Cousins as the 3rd best option at quarterback, but at 7,600 with a 21-point fantasy point projection and a matchup against the Lions with a 50-point total. 52, in fact. 52.5. There's the hook that I was trying to say. It's just a great spot, and he has so many weapons. Jefferson, Thielen, Cook, Irv Smith, if you want it. 17% chance to go for more than 30. 7.5% likelihood to be in the optimal. I hate going to Kirk Cousins. He is, I believe, my wife's quarterback this week, so I'll be double cheering for him because I think he's in a fantastic opportunity against the Lions here. We jump up in tier now, 10% likelihood for Josh Allen. He is 9K, projected for almost 26 fantasy points. The Bills, 52.5 point total, and they're the favorites. There's a 33% likelihood that Allen goes for more than 30 and a 10% chance that he is your optimal at QB. This one's set up for another monster day for Josh Allen. He's the quarterback of the best team in football. He's just fantastic. I don't know how else to say. Like, the only thing that slows me down here is the fact that he is 9K, and you kind of got to find some value in weird spots elsewhere. But in terms of upside, there's not much else that you can go to other than Josh Allen with a ceiling like this at quarterback. But you can save a little bit of money and go to Jalen Hurts, who is tied with Josh Allen, but inches him out for value. 24 fantasy point projection at 8,100. Philly, 6-point favorites, 47.5 point total against Washington. 26% chance to go for more than 30. 10.5, 10.3 gets him into the optimal. Whether you're going Hurts or Allen, I think they're the pretty clear two best options you can get to on FanDuel this week. But if you're worried a little bit about the salary, if you don't want to go dumpster diving at wide receiver, then maybe drop it down to Hurts, who's got a little bit of extra value with the feet. I think he looks good. I think you can't go wrong with either one of these guys. Jalen Hurts, your #1 quarterback. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NFL DFS contenders on FanDuel for week 3. DraftKings version of this video around here somewhere, so check it out. Good luck this weekend, everybody. Win some money. Let me know about it in the comments too. I'm back again Sunday morning for another edition of the Contenders.